kind of we lost our composure after 2-0. We just weren't in it anymore.
Yeah.
And that's the disappointing thing, because I don't want us to go back to being the old Tottenham where, we end up just collapsing. Because this team has shown in the past that it's got better spirit and better organisation than to do that. We were 2-0 down to City last season, and we came back and got a 2-2 draw. We were 2-0 down yesterday, and we never really even threatened to get back into the game. The possession stats will show that we had, more percentage possession at City than probably any other team, but we did nothing with it. A lot of it was in our own back third when we kept playing the ball to Lloris and back to Vertonghen and not really going anywhere. And the crux was we had nothing in the central area in midfield to connect the play from our defence to our attack, and we didn't threaten. But anyway, going back to the original point, Wanyama and Alderweireld are a massive miss for us, and people can play it down and say that other teams miss players, blah blah blah, which they do. But for us, they are huge. It impacts every aspect of our play, both defensively and in the midfield, and how we attack. Even missing Toby Alderweireld's out ball from defence, a diagonal ball to somebody on the left, or whatever the case may be, it's a part of our play that we're missing.
Yeah.
And sadly, we're just not able to cope without them, and we have to. We have to.
Yeah, when you play against a team like City, they give you every opportunity to counterattack, and we couldn't string 3 passes together yesterday to save our lives. Very, very disheartening. And again, when you have players that are having a bad run of form, it compounds the issue. Trying to get a goal in. So let's move forward a little bit. Yesterday we had the Dallas Spurs Crimbo bash. We had a lot of fun, Simon. I know that you have a lot that you want to talk about in terms of everything that we were able to do, accomplish, where we're at. We had our annual general meeting as well. Got a lot of information out to all the supporters. So for those of you that are interested in the whole supporters network and how you can become a part of it too in your local township or city or whatever, Simon's got a lot of information to give you.
Yeah, thanks for that, Ken. And hopefully this has changed the mood of the podcast. I was reflecting, going, oh my God, what if we're just all going to go slash our wrists? So let's cheer up a little bit.
Christmas.
And I must admit, when looking at the calendar and picking this date, I knew we were playing City, and that the segue from the end of the match into the Christmas party might not be the most happy one. And, the good thing is that those goals rained in the last 20 minutes. The inevitability was there. So we dealt with it. And, it's a really good party. So, we kicked off affairs right after the game. We, as Ken said, we did the club meeting, our obligation, and kind of gave everyone a rundown on our state of affairs, which was standard fare. But for anyone interested in becoming official or who's in that unofficial state and wants to be, it really isn't as difficult as it may sound. You just got to have key people who can be elected to the board. You got to have 5 people who are members. You have to have I don't remember how many people who are actually members of Tottenham Hotspur. But we have those, and obviously any official club has those, and you build it slowly. And I had a conversation with a couple of longtime members yesterday, and I said, look, from where we were 4 years ago to where we are now, it's night and day, and we do a very good job of onboarding new members who suddenly start coming to games more frequently. You might have seen them every now and then, but then suddenly you see them quite often. And if they're on their own, I don't say we have an obligation, but we're just the right kind of group that will put our arms around someone new and bring them into the fold and make them feel part of the club. And I'll pick on Laurel Levine, who was winning an awful lot during the raffle yesterday, and she's been coming a lot this season, and it's just great to see her face and see someone new that comes in week after week. And again, we're never going to be a club of glory hunters that just latch on the coattails of the success of the team. And we are a team that does attract a lot of new fans just because of the style of our football. and the youth and the exuberance of Pochettino's team. So that is a benefit, and it means we do get genuine fans coming to watch with us. But anyway, we then got into the raffle. We had a lot of cool prizes up for grabs. We still had some of the Darren Anderton autographed items from back in May. We had some extra key rings that the club gave us with the grass from White Hart Lane that paid members got this season, so we were able to give some of those, and some official Nike Spurs merch, tons of stuff really. And then we got into the White Elephant gift exchange, which if anyone's done one of those, they always tend to be pretty funny when someone's stealing the thing that you really, really want and then you can't steal it back. So lots of good stuff, some great prizes that were up for grabs, and I think everyone left happy. But it went on for a while. What time did we leave, Ken? 4? Almost 4 o'clock?
It was a long day.
It certainly was. And thanks to everyone that hung out for 6 hours of their Saturday, a week and a couple of days before Christmas. It's a big ask to commit to that, and that just goes to show you how much our fans love hanging out with each other, despite the outcome of the game yesterday. So it was a great time, and a lot of planning and effort went into it. I want to thank Tim for being MC there with the raffle at the end, and helping out with the raffle, as well as Shane and Kevin on the board, who played their role in helping me pull that off yesterday, because there was a lot of moving parts, particularly getting it all set up and going through the match, but it was pretty seamless. And we will raise a bunch of money again, which we massively tipped the bar staff at Trinity, and thanks to Marius for taking care of the free drinks that we offered our members, and we just converted that into a tip for the bar staff. So I think that ended up being $400.
Wow, lovely.
Yeah, and we still made out like bandits. So and again, all the money we make goes back into the club, whether we're raising it for charitable efforts or we're raising it to help the club better. And I think our ultimate goal is to probably get a couple of season tickets for next year.
That's going to be massive. I know that we, as a supporters club, this is our 5th year, right?
Yeah,
5 years. Year. So again, if you're out there and you want to start your own club, or if you're an existing club and you're looking at how to grow, ping Simon, Dallas Spurs, or at Dallas Spurs on Twitter. You can find Dallas Spurs also on Facebook and Instagram. Hit him up. He's a wealth of knowledge on how to get this done, who the club contacts are, and they can help you grow and build a club that you can be proud of, and it doesn't feel like work all the time. It's something that you actually enjoy doing. I know it's a labor of love for Simon, and like he said, we all get to hang out with each other during the match, after the match. And at times we're able to get together when there is no match, and just enjoy that camaraderie and friendship, and things that we get to do with each other as friends as well. When we look ahead at Brighton, I think you said that Hull was going to be the comparative team from last year. As we look at the fixture comparisons, the City loss certainly hurts, and I think we're slipping a little bit, right?
Yeah, definitely slipping. So obviously the Brighton game didn't change anything in us gaining ground, because from a comparative standpoint, compared to the Hull fixture, which was 3 points last year, and just on cumulative points, it was the same. Unfortunately for City, despite us getting a point there last year, that's another point lost in the cumulative points total. So apples to apples, game week to game week, we're 5 points off the drift, and comparative fixtures, we are now 7 points off the drift. You may not want me to keep doing this if our form stays like this, because, well, we're now in this glut of fixtures where I think it was a 5 or 6 game winning streak to take us through the new year. And so, yeah, that will be progressively worse if we can't at least keep the wins. That's just going to keep us pace with last season. It won't let us regain that, and I don't think we will. I think obviously 86 points isn't going to happen this season.
Yeah, that's very difficult. before we get into Cheers' five-a-side trivia match week 6, which is going to be a lot of fun this week, Timmy, if you want to talk about the transfer window that's upcoming, what we're going to be doing with our peeps in terms of listeners and the players that we already have slated to talk about. We're asking for a lot of listener suggestion, players that they want us to discuss, talk about, research in terms of this window, and maybe as it rolls into the summer. I think we have, about 20, 21 players?
Yeah, right now we got a list of 22 players. We're looking more at younger talent. This transfer window focus is going to be more so on what players could be available, taking a look at when their contracts are expiring, how long they've been with their current club, when the last time they signed an extension was, as opposed to specific stats and, who's the better player comparatively, because it's a different window than the summer. It's not an open market. Teams aren't going to sell their players, so we got to look more at whether a deal is possible and happening. So we're going to be looking at that. Some of the named players are, the youngster from Hamburg, Jan Fiete Arp. You got Ross Barkley, of course. You have Yves Bissouma from Lille. Christian Pulisic is out there. Everyone wants to talk about him. Ryan Sessegnon, Wilfried Zaha. We're going to be discussing a lot of players. I got a spreadsheet going that we will make available to everyone to look at when we release the pod on the transfer window. So you'll be able to play around with it, see when contracts are coming up. So if you have any other players you want us to talk about, I've been compiling a list of every name that's been sent in to us, but keep providing them, and we'll make sure to discuss those players.
Beautiful. Yeah, go ahead and send those suggestions in. I'll take a look at the spreadsheet, and I'll maybe put out on the Twitter machine the 21 players that we are already going to talk about. This way we're not having to read through a bunch of posts and it's like, oh, we're already talking about that person, or we're already talking about this person. We'll go ahead and get all that put out there for you so that you kind of have a general understanding, and I'm sure it's going to be a very enlightening show. We'll try to get some guests on as well to talk about this upcoming window that maybe specialize in that type of information. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and give this over to Simon. Five-a-side trivia match week 6. What's the topic this week, Cheers?
The topic is the general. I'll leave it at that. Say nothing, because we're going to get right into this. Vass, is this a bye week for you, or are you just going to kick him in the bollocks again?
I'm feeling bad because I've obviously got a long supporter history then, Tim and Ken, and I feel like I'm at an advantage. So
you've been supporting longer than I've been alive.
Oh, yeah. Cheers, mate. Thanks for being alive.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so if it's about the general and that's what I'm thinking, then I think I might have him at an advantage again. So.
You may very well. And thanks for being a good sport for last week.
Yeah.
No, it was good fun. It was good.
Dear.
You can let them keep their points if you like. And just
no. But you never know. Something like that may crop up.
We're definitely going to need that.
One of these guys might come into some, oil money or something. Anyway, so question number 1 is, fingers on your buzzers or your vocal cords. Who is the general?
Ken.
Oh, Ken.
Keith Birkinshaw.
You are correct. So now we know, if you didn't already, that this is all about Keith Birkinshaw. Question number 2. And this is a potential 3-pointer. How many trophies did Burky win?
Ken.
Vass.
Oh, was that Ken? Were you talking over Vass there?
Yeah, that was me.
All right, go on then.
He won 3.
3 is correct. And for bonus points, what were they?
UEFA Cup 1984.
I don't need the year, but that's correct.
And
you're correct.
And 2 FA Cups back to back.
Wow, there you go. 4 points for Ken. All right.
Whoa.
I'll have to step it up now.
You said 3 points. How's it 4 now?
Well, he won the first question.
Oh, okay. I thought you were giving him 4 for the last one. Where's this bonus coming from?
No. So question number 3. kind of a convoluted answer, but give it to me the best you can. Why did he leave